What are some of the ways that I could help my millennial child buy their first home or investment? And what sort of considerations should I consider? Let's have a look at that right now. Greetings, this is Rick Ward. I'm a retirement coach and a transitional guide with Your Journey Transitions. You know, as caring parents, we want to help our children with anything we can. This usually comes in the forms of providing advice, completing tasks for them, or lending them money. Giving our children advice is rarely an issue. Most of us feel that we've turned out all right and we've navigated all of life's pitfalls and learned the lessons, and we want our children to have the benefit of our experience so they can hopefully avoid some of the hardships and maximize the good things in life. So for providing advice, that's usually never an issue. But be careful about unsolicited advice. If your kids aren't open to it or they're not asking for it, providing unsolicited advice can be damaging to the relationship, and it kind of erodes your credibility. It's always best to have that relationship where your children will approach you for asking for your advice. Or you'll find your own way, depending on your relationship with your child, how you can approach that subject and provide that advice without compromising the relationship. Completing a task is usually also not usually a big problem. We get used to chasing after the kids when they're little, and as they grow up, we tend to still chase after them and run errands for them, picking up things. It usually just takes a bit of our time, and we're happy to help. It usually gives us this warm and fuzzy feeling that we're helping our kids. Sometimes even in our own busy lives, it may add a bit of pressure to us, but overall, completing tasks for our children usually isn't a big issue for us. Now, lending money or gifting money oftentimes is a bit different. As we're getting older and closer to retirement, and the reality sinks in that maybe we don't have enough savings, we don't have a retirement plan in place, and so we start to be a bit more cautious about how we spend our money. When it comes to our children, we're so used to providing them money through childhood and through their early years that it kind of comes like almost a reflex sometimes to help them out if they're requesting it. And with some people, as we approach retirement, we start to feel that our money is finite and our learning capacity is coming to an end. I don't believe either one of these is true, but that's a conversation for another day and another video. The second reason that we might have some hesitation to gift or lend money to our children, we want them to work out their problems on their own and to make sure that they've exhausted all their resources. If we come in and provide assistance too early, often they don't get to go through the whole experience of really problem solving and working out some lateral thinking and some creative ways to solve their problems. So we really want them to solve their own financial problems like we did, and to have a real appreciation for the value of money. I'd like to add a third component, which has two aspects. The third category for providing financial assistance is what are the negative impacts for them and for us. And these two parts need to be considered in both financial and relationship-wise. Risks are greatly reduced when we limit it to our assistance being a coaching role and providing assistance in emotional support. There may be some initial tensions if they come to you wanting a quick fix in you assisting them with the finance. They can be more focused on their wants than your needs. There could be many other valid reasons for not wanting to provide financial support. I would welcome any comments you might have in the comment section about this. If you're providing financial support and there's going to be any strings attached to this money, that needs to be clearly discussed and outlined before any properties are looked at. Possible contingencies are, is this money a gift or is it to be repaid? If it is, how and when is it to be repaid? If it's a gift, have you talked to your accountant or tax attorneys? There could be huge ramifications tax-wise for both you and your child. You may be wanting to do the right things and give them a property deposit money, but depending on where you are in your journey through life, the gift could actually be eroded quite significantly by taxes and maybe put it in consideration where neither you or your child benefit from this money. So make sure you get professional advice before you look at gifting any money. And will this gift be taken in consideration for inheritance in your estate? This is very important if you have other children. I highly recommend, if you do have other children, that the agreement, whatever you've entered into with this child, is all written out with all the understandings of repayment or gifting and the amounts, all this dated when the transactions happened. And this will all assist in settling your estate later. As far as strings go, what entity will the house be bought in? Will your name be on the title? Will your name be on a mortgage? What's your connection with the property? Now, this is a very individual circumstance between you and your relationship. Again, get some professional advice. If your name's attached to this property, you will have some responsibility for it. So you need to be keenly aware of what you're actually signing up for if you put your name on it. Perhaps you want to buy it jointly. I would recommend for a primary residence for your child that you don't have your name attached to it. If it's an investment property, there's nothing wrong with you going in as a joint venture with your children. I plan to do this, and I think this is a really good activity, going in as a shared partner. But as a primary residence, I would recommend against it. But again, this is individual to you and your child, an agreement of what you're going to do. But there can be ramifications later on. It's best to have a few strings possible to help preserve that relationship. And having all this in a written agreement, I think, is a protection for your child as well. If they feel at some stage that you're meddling and giving advice and it's not your house and you're overstepping things, you'll have some clear agreement up front to help you talk it through. Each of these points will be covered in future videos in more detail. In these first few videos, we're talking about putting your brain to work as well as your heart when helping your children, things to consider that are going to be a benefit for both you and them, and try to avoid some pitfalls that could affect your relationship and your financial future. As we progress through there, we'll get more into strategies on how you can assist them, and then into the nitty-gritty of actually purchasing properties, contracts, important clauses to put in your contracts to protect yourself and your children. And it's quite likely we'll branch off into investment properties and how to manage those, and joint ventures with you and your kids. There's an unlimited number of videos that we could do around this. The message that I'm trying to get through first is to really talk to some experts, know what you're getting into, and to have some forethought into what the possible incomes are, because this could be the best, most powerful gift that you could ever give to your children, or it could really backfire on you and could be a devastating mistake that hurts both you and your children. So really think about this and not get caught up in the excitement, and you're bound to have a superior outcome. The next video in this series, we might criteria in deciding if and how I will assist my children with the next property purchase, whether that's the primary residence or investment property. So I hope you'll join me in that video. If this is the first time to this channel, and this is the sort of content that you're interested in, I would recommend that you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell where you'll be notified every time I release new content, including future episodes in this series of helping your children buy real estate. And if you know anyone else that might be interested in this sort of content, I'd ask you to share this video and this channel with them. Share it on your social media, friends, family. I think these are issues that are going to face more and more of us baby boomers as we head towards retirement and our grown children are going through life. Purchasing properties. The credit world works very different these days. It's much easier to get credit. It's much easier to get yourself in trouble, but it's also much easier to really set up some sound foundations for your future, to really secure that your children are going to have a good retirement themselves. So it's a matter of taking advantage of all the resources available to you, knowing what they are, ask the right questions, and try to avoid the pitfalls that can be very harmful to you that most people don't realize until after the contracts are signed. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and of course my website, yourjourneytransitions.com. So until next time, this is Rick Ward, your guide through retirement stages, wishing you an incredible retirement.
This is like a cocoon.
What comes out of a cocoon?
Butterflies.
Are butterflies beautiful?
Yeah.